Number 1. King Herod. King Herod, a name that echoes through the corridors of history, rose to power in Judea with a mix of cunning and ambition. You find yourself intrigued by his journey to the throne. His ascent wasn't just about seizing power. It involved strategic political alliances and complex family dynamics. Herod's marriage into the Hasmonean dynasty, a prominent Jewish family, played a crucial role in solidifying his rule. You can imagine the intricate web of relationships he navigated, each thread pulling him closer to absolute control. Herod's reign is marked by actions that cemented his place among the most brutal rulers. The infamous massacre of the innocents stands out as a chilling example of his cruelty. According to the Gospel of Matthew, Herod ordered the killing of all male infants in Bethlehem, fearing the prophecy of a new king. This act of brutality, though debated among scholars for its historical accuracy, paints a vivid picture of a ruler driven by paranoia and fear. You can almost hear the cries of the innocent, a haunting reminder of the lengths to which murderous kings would go to secure their thrones. Herod's ruthless suppression of dissent further underscores his reputation as one of the cruel rulers in history. He crushed any opposition with an iron fist, leaving a legacy of fear and tyranny. The impact of Herod's reign reverberates through time. His legacy of fear and tyranny left an indelible mark on history. You might find it fascinating how his actions have been immortalized in both historical and biblical narratives. Macrobius, a non-Christian writer, even mentioned the massacre in his works, highlighting its notoriety. Herod's story serves as a stark reminder of the deadliest monarchs and the dark legacies they leave behind. As you reflect on his reign, you realize that the brutality of such tyrants continues to captivate and caution us about the dangers of unchecked power. Number 2, Emperor Nero. Imagine the grandeur of ancient Rome, where power and intrigue intertwined. You find yourself drawn into the story of Emperor Nero, a figure whose rise to the Roman throne was as dramatic as any tale from antiquity. Nero's ascent wasn't just a matter of inheritance. It was a carefully orchestrated maneuver by his ambitious mother, Agrippina the Younger. She wielded influence like a master puppeteer, ensuring her son would wear the imperial crown. You can almost picture the young Nero, surrounded by advisors and mentors, each whispering in his ear, shaping his early reign. Yet beneath the surface, psychological challenges simmered, hinting at the tumultuous path ahead. Nero's reign is a tapestry woven with acts that cemented his place among history's brutal kings. You might shudder at the thought of his persecution of Christians, a campaign that painted the streets of Rome with fear and blood. Nero's actions weren't just about maintaining power. They were driven by a complex mix of paranoia and ambition. The Great Fire of Rome, a catastrophic event that engulfed the city in flames, stands as a testament to his controversial legacy. Some historians, like Tacitus and Suetonius, suggest Nero himself orchestrated the blaze, seeking to rebuild Rome in his image. Whether true or not, you can imagine the chaos and despair that followed, as Nero's subsequent actions only deepened his notoriety. Nero's legacy endures, casting a long shadow over history. His infamy as a tyrant and madman has been immortalized in countless cultural depictions. You might find it fascinating how artists and writers have portrayed Nero, from the pages of ancient texts to modern interpretations. His reign, marked by extravagance and cruelty, serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked power. As you reflect on Nero's story, you realize that his dark legacy continues to captivate and intrigue, reminding us of the complexities of leadership and the enduring impact of history's most notorious figures. Number 3, King John of England. Picture the medieval landscape of England, where power struggles and political intrigue shape the destiny of a nation. You find yourself drawn into the tumultuous journey of King John, a ruler whose path to the English crown was anything but smooth. His ascent involved navigating a web of familial rivalries and political machinations. As the youngest son of Henry II, John faced a turbulent path, marked by conflicts with his brothers and a constant struggle for recognition. You can almost feel the tension as he maneuvered through the treacherous waters of royal succession. John's relationship with the nobility and clergy further complicated his reign. You might imagine the tense negotiations and power plays that defined his interactions with these influential groups. The king's attempts to assert authority often clashed with the interests of the barons and the church, leading to a reign fraught with discord. You can picture the heated debates and uneasy alliances, each move shaping the course of English history. King John's reign is a tale of ambition and missteps, highlighted by actions that cemented his place among history's brutal kings. You might shudder at the thought of his signing and subsequent disregard of the Magna Carta. This historic document, intended to limit the king's power and protect the rights of his subjects, became a symbol of resistance against tyranny. John's reluctance to honor its provisions sparked outrage among the barons, leading to a rebellion that threatened his rule. You can almost hear the clamor of discontent as the king's heavy-handed tactics backfired. John's penchant for heavy taxation and military failures further tarnished his legacy. You might envision the burdened populace, struggling under the weight of exorbitant levies imposed to fund the king's unsuccessful campaigns. His military blunders, including the disastrous loss of Normandy, eroded his credibility and fueled resentment. You can picture the frustration of his subjects, their loyalty tested by a ruler whose ambitions often exceeded his capabilities. The impact of King John's reign reverberates through history, leaving a legacy of incompetence and tyranny. You might find it fascinating how his actions influenced the development of constitutional law and governance. The Magna Carta, despite John's attempts to undermine it, laid the foundation for the English system of common law. Its significance as a symbol of freedom from oppression resonates through the ages, celebrated by later generations and even the founding fathers of the United States. As you reflect on John's story, you realize that his reign serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked ambition and the enduring impact of leadership. His legacy, marked by both failure and reform, continues to captivate and intrigue, reminding us of the complexities of power and the lessons of history. Number 4. Vlad the Impaler. Imagine the rugged landscape of 15th century Wallachia, where power struggles and fierce battles shape the destiny of a nation. You find yourself drawn into the story of Vlad the Impaler, a ruler whose reign over Wallachia from 1456 to 1462 left an indelible mark on history. Vlad's ascent to power wasn't just about claiming a throne, it was about asserting dominance in a region fraught with political and familial influences. His rule was characterized by a relentless pursuit of unity and order, often through draconian methods that earned him both fear and respect. Vlad's political maneuvers were as sharp as the stakes he used for his infamous executions. You can almost picture the tense negotiations and strategic alliances he forged to maintain control over Wallachia. His familial ties, particularly his connection to the powerful Draculesti family, played a crucial role in his rise to power. These relationships, combined with his ruthless tactics, set the stage for a reign that would be remembered for its brutality and effectiveness. Vlad's reign is a chilling tale of terror and defiance, marked by actions that cemented his place among history's brutal kings. You might shudder at the thought of his preferred method of punishment, impalement. This gruesome technique involved driving a wooden stake through the bodies of his enemies, leaving them to die in agony. Vlad's penchant for impaling enemies earned him the moniker Vlad the Impaler, a name that still evokes horror today. His most notorious act involved ordering 200 Ottomans to be impaled as he retreated from battle, a display of brutality that sent shockwaves through the region. Yet Vlad's actions weren't solely about instilling fear. You can imagine the strategic brilliance behind his defense against Ottoman invasions. By using impalement as a deterrent, Vlad sought to create a unified Romania, free from external threats. His ruthless tactics, though horrifying, were effective in maintaining Wallachian independence and deterring would-be invaders. You might find it fascinating how Vlad's reign, marked by both terror and resilience, continues to captivate historians and storytellers alike. The legacy of Vlad the Impaler endures, casting a long shadow over history and popular culture. You might find it intriguing how his brutal methods inspired the legend of Dracula, a character that has become synonymous with vampirism and horror. Foreign writers of the time described Vlad as a vampire king, a portrayal that has fueled countless tales of the supernatural. His complex legacy, a blend of heroism and brutality, serves as a reminder of the dual nature of power. As you reflect on Vlad's story, you realize that his reign offers valuable insights into the complexities of leadership and the enduring impact of history's most notorious figures. His actions, though brutal, were driven by a desire for unity and order, leaving a legacy that continues to fascinate and caution us about the dangers of unchecked ambition. Number 5. Ivan the Terrible. Imagine the vast, icy expanse of Russia in the 16th century. You find yourself amidst the rise of Ivan the Terrible, the first Tsar of all Russia. His ascent to power wasn't just a coronation, it was a transformation of the Russian state. Ivan's early reign brimmed with ambition and reform. He sought to centralize power, bringing the sprawling territories under a unified rule. You can picture the young Ivan determined to leave his mark on history, implementing changes that would shake the future of Russia. Ivan's ambitions didn't stop at governance. He envisioned a Russia that could stand toe-to-toe with the great powers of Europe. His early reforms aimed to modernize the military and streamline the administration. You might imagine the bustling courts and councils filled with advisors and strategists, each contributing to Ivan's grand vision. Yet, beneath this veneer of progress, darker currents began to swirl, hinting at the tumultuous path ahead. Ivan's reign took a sinister turn with the establishment of the oprichnina. This policy divided the country into two parts, one under his direct control and the other left to the nobility. You might shudder at the thought of the oprichniki, Ivan's personal guard, who enforced his will with ruthless efficiency. Their actions included mass executions, leaving a trail of fear and devastation. The massacre of Novgorod stands as a chilling testament to their brutality. Thousands perished under Ivan's orders, their cries echoing through the annals of history. Yet, Ivan's reign wasn't solely defined by terror. His expansionist policies extended Russian territory, pushing the borders further than ever before. You can almost see the vast armies marching across the steppes, claiming new lands in the name of the Tsar. This territorial expansion, though achieved through bloodshed, laid the groundwork for the Russian Empire's future growth. Ivan's legacy, a blend of conquest and cruelty, continues to captivate historians and storytellers alike. The impact of Ivan's reign reverberates through Russian history. His legacy of fear and centralization of power left an indelible mark on the nation. You might find it fascinating how his actions influenced the cultural and historical landscape of Russia. Ivan's reign, marked by both innovation and oppression, serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked ambition. As you reflect on his story, you realize that his dark legacy continues to intrigue and caution us about the complexities of leadership and the enduring impact of history's most notorious figures. Number 6. King Leopold II of Belgium. Imagine the opulent halls of Belgium's royal palace, where King Leopold II plotted his grand ambitions. His reign over Belgium extended beyond European borders, reaching into the heart of Africa. You find yourself intrigued by his personal control of the Congo Free State from 1885 to 1908. Leopold's motivations for colonial expansion were not just about national pride. They were deeply personal. He viewed the Congo as his private fiefdom, a place to amass wealth and power. You can almost picture the maps and plans spread before him, each marking a new opportunity for exploitation. Leopold's rule in the Congo is a chilling tale of exploitation and atrocities. You might shudder at the thought of the brutal treatment inflicted upon the Congolese people. Millions suffered under his regime, facing hunger, disease, and violence. The king's pursuit of economic gains came at a horrific cost to human life. Rubber and ivory, extracted through forced labor, filled Leopold's coffers while leaving a trail of devastation. You can imagine the vast forests of the Congo, once teeming with life, now echoing with the cries of those who toiled and perished. The legacy of King Leopold II casts a long shadow over history. His reign left a mark of colonial brutality and exploitation that continues to haunt Belgium and the Congo. You might find it fascinating how ongoing debates about reparations and historical memory keep this dark chapter alive. Streets and monuments in Brussels still bear the names of those who built Belgium's empire, sparking discussions about their place in modern society. As you reflect on Leopold's story, you realize that his actions serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the enduring impact of history's most notorious figures. Number 7. Genghis Khan. Imagine the vast steppes of Mongolia, where a young boy named Temujin rose from humble beginnings to become one of history's most formidable leaders. You find yourself captivated by the story of Genghis Khan, who transformed from a tribal outcast into the unifier of the Mongol tribes. His early life was fraught with challenges, including the murder of his father and the betrayal by his own clan. Yet Genghis displayed remarkable resilience and strategic acumen, rallying the scattered Mongol tribes under his banner. This unification marked the birth of an unstoppable force that would soon sweep across continents. Genghis Khan's conquests are legendary, painting a vivid picture of a leader who wielded both military genius and ruthless brutality. You might shudder at the thought of his campaigns across Asia and Europe, where cities fell like dominoes before his advancing armies. His use of psychological warfare was as effective as his military might. Genghis employed spies and spread disinformation to sow discord among his enemies. One of his favorite tactics involved feigned retreats, luring opponents into vulnerable positions before launching devastating counterattacks. The Mongol warriors, renowned for their horsemanship and archery, became the backbone of Genghis's military machine. Imagine the thunderous charge of horse-mounted archers, their arrows raining down with deadly precision. Genghis Khan's forces left a trail of destruction, with cities like Merv reduced to ruins and their inhabitants slaughtered. Yet, his empire also facilitated trade and cultural exchange, connecting distant lands and fostering the spread of ideas and technology. The legacy of Genghis Khan endures, casting a long shadow over world history and culture. you might find it fascinating how his empire, the largest contiguous land empire in history, reshaped the geopolitical landscape. Genghis's military strategies and innovations continue to be studied by historians and military scholars alike. His promotion of trade routes, such as the Silk Road, laid the groundwork for global commerce and cultural exchange. Genghis Khan's influence extends beyond the battlefield. His meritocratic approach to leadership, where talent and loyalty were rewarded, set a precedent for future empires. As you reflect on his story, you realize that Genghis Khan's blend of military prowess and visionary leadership left an indelible mark on the world, reminding us of the complexities of power and the enduring impact of history's most formidable figures. Number 8. Attila the Hun. Picture the vast steppes of Central Asia, where the Huns roamed with unmatched ferocity. You find yourself captivated by the story of Attila the Hun, a leader who commanded the Hunnic Empire with an iron grip. His leadership transformed the Huns into a formidable force, feared by empires far and wide. Attila's rise to power wasn't just about brute strength. It was about uniting the scattered tribes under a single banner. You can almost see the fierce warriors rallying behind him, their loyalty unwavering as they prepared to conquer new lands. Attila's interactions with the Roman Empire were as complex as they were tumultuous. You might imagine the tense negotiations and uneasy alliances that defined his relationship with Rome. The Romans, wary of Attila's growing power, often found themselves caught between diplomacy and conflict. You can picture the Roman envoys, their faces etched with concern, as they attempted to broker peace with the Hunnic leader. Yet, beneath the surface, betrayal and intrigue simmered, setting the stage for a series of dramatic confrontations. Attila's invasions left a trail of devastation across Roman territories. You might shudder at the thought of his campaigns in Gaul and the eastern Roman cities. His forces swept through the land like a storm, leaving destruction in their wake. The Huns, renowned for their speed and ferocity, struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. You can almost hear the thunderous hooves of their horses as they charged into battle, overwhelming Roman defenses with relentless aggression. Attila's dealings with the Romans were marked by a series of negotiations and betrayals. You might find it fascinating how he skillfully played both sides, extracting tribute and concessions from the beleaguered empire. The Romans, desperate to stave off further invasions, often found themselves at the mercy of Attila's demands. Yet, despite their efforts, the Hunnic leader remained a constant threat, his ambitions unchecked by treaties or promises. The legacy of Attila the Hun endures, casting a long shadow over history. His reign left a mark of fear and destruction that continues to captivate and caution us. You might find it intriguing how his actions contributed to the decline of the Roman Empire, leaving it weakened and vulnerable. Attila's invasions strained the empire's resources, plunging it into an economic and social crisis. As you reflect on his story, you realize that his dark legacy serves as a reminder of the enduring impact of history's most formidable figures. Attila's role in the decline of the Roman Empire cannot be overstated. His relentless attacks weakened both the eastern and western parts of the empire, hastening their eventual collapse. You might imagine the crumbling cities and desperate citizens struggling to survive in the aftermath of his invasions. Attila's reign, marked by both conquest and chaos, continues to fascinate historians and storytellers alike, reminding us of the complexities of power and the enduring impact of history's most notorious leaders. Number 9. Caligula. Imagine the grandeur of ancient Rome, where power and intrigue danced in the shadows of marble columns. You find yourself captivated by the story of Caligula, a young emperor who ascended to the Roman throne with the promise of a golden era. His rise was not just a matter of inheritance, it was a spectacle of hope and anticipation. The Roman people, weary from the reign of Tiberius, looked to Caligula as a beacon of change. You can almost hear the cheers of the crowd as he took his place as emperor, their hopes pinned on his youthful vigor and charm. Caligula's early reign brimmed with potential. He abolished unpopular taxes and released prisoners, actions that endeared him to the populace. Yet, beneath this promising start, darker currents began to swirl. You might imagine the whispers in the corridors of power, hinting at the emperor's growing instability. Historical accounts, like those of Suetonius, paint a picture of a ruler whose mental state deteriorated rapidly. Caligula's reign, once filled with promise, spiraled into chaos as paranoia and megalomania took hold. Caligula's rule became synonymous with extravagance and cruelty. You might shudder at the tales of his lavish spending, where fortunes were squandered on grandiose projects and personal indulgences. His cruelty knew no bounds, as he delighted in the suffering of others. Imagine the opulent banquets, where guests feared for their lives, knowing the emperor's whims could turn deadly. Caligula's actions were not just about power, they were a display of unchecked madness that left Rome reeling. The emperor's paranoia led to a series of political purges and executions. You can almost feel the tension in the air, as senators and nobles lived in constant fear of Caligula's wrath. His reign of terror saw many prominent figures fall victim to his murderous tendencies. The emperor's erratic behavior and penchant for violence created an atmosphere of dread, where loyalty offered no protection from his unpredictable fury. Caligula's legacy endures as a symbol of tyranny and madness. You might find it fascinating how his reign has been immortalized in literature and art, serving as a cautionary tale about the perils of absolute power. His name, synonymous with excess and cruelty, continues to captivate and intrigue, reminding us of the dark side of leadership. The impact of Caligula's reign on Roman history and culture cannot be overstated. His actions left a scar on the Roman psyche, influencing subsequent emperors and shaping the course of the empire. You might imagine the lessons learned from his rule, as future leaders sought to avoid the pitfalls of unchecked ambition and madness. Caligula's story, a blend of promise and tragedy, serves as a reminder of the complexities of power and the enduring impact of history's most notorious figures. Number 10. Qin Shi Huang. Picture ancient China, a land divided by warring states. You find yourself amidst the chaos, where Qin Shi Huang emerges as a formidable force. At just 13, he ascends to the throne of Qin after his father's death. His court wastes no time, mobilizing for conquest. Over a decade, Qin Shi Huang conquers 6 rival states, unifying China under his rule. This monumental achievement marks the birth of the Qin dynasty 2120 BC. You can almost hear the clamor of swords and the cries of victory as he establishes a new era. Qin Shi Huang's ambitions stretch beyond mere unification. He dreams of immortality and absolute power. You might imagine him, surrounded by advisors, plotting ways to extend his life indefinitely. His quest for eternal life leads to the construction of elaborate tombs and the commissioning of the famous terracotta army. Each clay soldier stands as a testament to his desire for protection in the afterlife. His ambitions also manifest in his self-proclaimed title, Shi Huangdi, or First Emperor, a name that echoes his unparalleled authority. Qin Shi Huang's reign is marked by grand projects that showcase his vision and determination. You might marvel at the construction of the Great Wall, a colossal barrier stretching across the northern frontier. This monumental feat aims to protect his empire from nomadic invaders. Imagine the thousands of laborers toiling under harsh conditions, each stone laid with precision and purpose. The terracotta army, buried near his tomb, stands as a symbol of his quest for immortality. Each life-sized figure, crafted with meticulous detail, guards the emperor in death as they would in life. Yet Qin Shi Huang's rule is not without its darker aspects. His authoritarian approach leaves little room for dissent. You might shudder at the thought of his infamous book burnings, where countless texts are reduced to ashes. This act aims to suppress intellectual opposition and consolidate his power. Scholars who resist face severe punishment, their voices silenced in the name of unity. His strict legalist policies ensure that even minor infractions receive harsh penalties, creating an atmosphere of fear and control. Qin Shi Huang's legacy endures, casting a long shadow over Chinese history. His centralization of power lays the foundation for future dynasties. You might find it fascinating how his legalist policies influence governance for centuries. His reign, marked by both innovation and oppression, serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked ambition. The title emperor, which he invents, becomes a staple of Chinese leadership, reflecting his lasting impact on the nation's identity. The cultural and historical significance of Qin Shi Huang's reign cannot be overstated. His achievements, both monumental and controversial, continue to captivate historians and scholars. You might imagine the lessons learned from his rule as future leaders navigate the complexities of power and governance. His story, a blend of ambition and tyranny, serves as a reminder of the enduring impact of history's most formidable figures. As you reflect on his legacy, you realize that Qin Shi Huang's influence extends far beyond his lifetime, shaping the course of Chinese history for generations to come.